Hi you guys, my name is Shar and welcome to my channel. I'm a communications specialist and I also am the founder of Shar Speaks, which is a brand that I created in order to help people become better communicators in their own way. Today we're going to be reacting to the video, The Coronavirus Explained and What You Should Do. I believe the coronavirus is definitely the hot topic right now. So I love these. This is like an informational channel and I always love watching those channels. But today that's what we're going to react to. So if you want to see the video, just keep on watching.
In December 2019, the Chinese authorities notified the world that a virus was spreading through their communities. In the following months, it spread to other countries with cases doubling.
First off, I love his voice. He has such a soothing, nice voice. I love a nice monotone voice. I'm not very fond of high-pitched voices, but your voice is your voice. I know some people cannot help that. I'm not trying to talk about you or grill you, but I just love a nice, soothe, lower tone voice. It's so soothing.
Doubling within days. This virus is the severe acute respiratory syndrome related coronavirus 2.
He said respiratory. Let's go back. I know where I'm from, I say respiratory. He said respiratory.
Acute respiratory syndrome related coronavirus 2 that causes the disease called COVID-19 and that everyone simply calls coronavirus. What actually happens when it infects a human and what should we all do?
I actually like that beginning part where we actually told like where it came from, how it started. That was helpful. Respiratory. I like that.
A virus is really just a hull around genetic material and a few proteins, arguably not even a living thing. It can only make more of itself by entering a living cell. Corona may spread via surfaces, but it's still uncertain how long it can survive on them. Its main way of spreading seems to be droplet infection, when people cough, or if you touch someone who's ill and then your face, say rubbing your eyes or nose. The virus starts its journey here and then hitches a ride as a stowaway deeper into the...
Okay, so the beginning is obviously a little bit of a science lesson, something that we should already know anyway, but washing hands and sanitizing has been on the rise and everybody is like, well, you guys aren't washing your hands before. I don't feel like it necessarily meant that you weren't washing your hands before. It's just giving a little bit more light to the fact that, hey, this thing is out here and we need everybody to be on one accord in order for everybody to remain safe. But anyway, let's keep going with the video.
Body. Its destinations are the intestines, the spleen or the lungs, where it can have the most dramatic effect. Even just a few coronaviruses can cause quite a dramatic situation. The lungs are lined with billions of epithelial cells. These are the border cells of your body, lining your organs and mucosa, waiting to be infected.
The distinction is on point. Do you hear the words he's saying? Epithelial, like you can hear every last word. You can hear the sound of every last letter. I love that. Pronunciation is so important when it comes to clarity for speaking. But oh, I just get so excited. Anyway, let's keep going.
Corona connects to a specific receptor on its victim's membranes to inject its genetic material. The cell, ignorant of what's happening, executes the new instructions, which are pretty simple: copy and reassemble. It fills up with more and more copies of the original virus until it reaches a critical point and receives one final order: self-destruct. The cell sort of melts away, releasing new corona particles, ready to attack more cells. The number of infected cells grows exponentially. After about 10 days, millions of body cells are infected and billions of viruses swarm the lungs. The virus has not caused too much damage yet, but corona is now going to release a real beast on you, your own immune system. The immune system, while there to protect you, can actually be pretty dangerous to yourself and needs tight regulation. And as immune cells pour into the lungs to fight the virus, corona infects some of them and creates confusion. Cells have neither ears nor eyes. They communicate.
This is helpful just for those out there. This is not just the coronavirus. He's explaining what happens And just speaking on the content of what he's speaking about, the order is so clear. The clarity here is phenomenal. He's talking about the process of a virus, period. It's not just the coronavirus. It's not just, okay, this is how COVID-19 is spread. No, this is the process literally for every virus. It's on the surface, you touch your hands or your mouth, it gets into your body, it duplicates. Like, that is the standard for every single virus. So please do not think that he's just explaining it just for the coronavirus. Yes, this is the topic of this video is the coronavirus, but it's not just specifically to that. Keep that in mind. I feel like that's very good. He's explaining this very, very well. Very, very well. I love a good informational, clear video. A lot of videos sometimes that are supposed to be giving information, they just ramble and they go all around the world to try to get to that specific point. But he's definitely telling it, and he's telling it in a specific order. So let's keep watching.
Communicate mostly via tiny information proteins called cytokines. Nearly every important immune reaction is controlled by them. Corona causes infected immune cells to overreact and yell bloody murder. In a sense, it puts the immune system into a fighting frenzy and sends way more soldiers than it should, wasting its resources and causing damage. Two kinds of...
If you can also pay attention as well, those inflections keep people interested. It's one thing to be able to speak about something for so long. This video is 8 minutes long, but to be able to speak about it and give the inflections to make things a little bit more realistic, to make things a little bit more relatable to the audience, very important.
Of cells in particular wreak havoc. First, neutrophils, which are great at killing stuff, including ourselves. As they arrive in their thousands, they start pumping out enzymes that destroy as many friends as enemies. The other important type of cells that go into a frenzy are killer T cells, which usually order infected cells to commit controlled suicide. Confused as they are, they start ordering healthy cells to kill themselves too. The more and more immune cells arrive, the more damage they do.
It's so crazy that once a virus gets inside, like the chaos that can happen, even with your body already programmed and designed to be a certain way to help you live, how that confusion makes you, it ends up being bad for you and not good for you as the intention is. But anyway, let's keep going.
And the more healthy lung tissue they kill. This might get so bad that it can cause permanent, irreversible damage that leads to lifelong disabilities. In most cases, the immune system slowly regains control. It kills the infected cells, intercepts the viruses trying to infect new ones, and cleans up the battlefield. Recovery begins. The majority of people infected by corona will get through it with relatively mild symptoms. But many cases become severe or even critical. We don't know the percentage because not all cases have been identified, but it's safe to say that there is a lot more than with the flu. In more severe cases, millions of epithelial cells have died, and with them, the lung's protective lining is gone. That means that the alveoli...
And also he's got a bit of he has an accent as well, but the accent isn't necessarily a language barrier at all. Even with his accent, you can still hear and understand him very clearly.
Tiny air sacs via which breathing occurs can be infected by bacteria that aren't usually a big problem. Patients get pneumonia, respiration becomes hard or even fails, and patients need ventilators to survive. The immune system has fought at full capacity for weeks and made millions of antiviral weapons. And as thousands of bacteria rapidly multiply, it is overwhelmed. They enter the blood and overrun the body. If this happens, death is very likely. The coronavirus is often compared to the flu, but actually, it's much more dangerous. While the exact death rate is hard to pin down during an ongoing pandemic, we know for sure that it's much more contagious and spreads faster than the flu. There are two futures for a pandemic.
So the coronavirus is much more contagious and spreads faster than the flu. That's interesting.
Like corona, fast and slow. Which future we will see depends on how we all react to it in the early days of the outbreak. A fast pandemic will be horrible and cost many lives. A slow pandemic will not be remembered by the history books. The worst-case scenario for a fast pandemic begins with a very rapid rate of infection because there are no countermeasures in place to slow it down.
Right.
Why is this so bad?
Which is why it's important to wash your hands and practice good hygiene.
In a fast pandemic, many people get sick at the same time. If the numbers get too large, healthcare systems become unable to handle it. There aren't enough resources like medical staff or equipment like ventilators left to help everybody. People will die untreated. And as more healthcare workers get sick...
His tone changed a little bit to become more serious because he's talking about something way more serious. Now he started with how it all began, where it came from, talked about the process of it, and now he's really talking about the consequences of if it's a slow pandemic or if it's a fast pandemic, the effect that the world will have and people will have and what they will be able to endure. So his series is a little bit more tone, a little bit more direct, and you can kind of sense that shift.
Themselves, the capacity of healthcare systems falls even further. If this becomes the case, then horrible decisions will have to be made about who gets to live and who doesn't. The number of deaths rises significantly in such a scenario. To avoid this,
rises significantly in such a scenario. I love it. I love it. I love when I can hear every last syllable, letter in a word. Like that is amazing. It is amazing.
The world, that means all of us, needs to do what it can to turn this into a slow pandemic. A pandemic is slowed down by the right responses, especially in the early phase, so that everyone who gets sick can get treatment and there's no crunch point with overwhelmed hospitals.
Right.
Since we don't have a vaccine for corona, we have to socially engineer our behavior to act like a social vaccine. This simply means two things: not getting infected and not infecting others. Although it sounds trivial, the very best thing you can do is to wash your hands.
Right.
Soap is actually a powerful...
And I believe people have been washing their hands. I believe a lot of people have been practicing sanitization, but it's the thing that, like you said, there's no vaccine for this stuff. So we have to go hard on those extra measures for us and our families and the ones that we love to be able to not get infected and not infect others.
tool.
I love how he pointed up. I'm sorry, I'm going to play it, I promise. But I love how he pinpointed those two. I love how he brought out those 2 points, not getting infected and not infecting others. As you can see, it's easy to retain that, but it depends on how you display it to your audience, whether it will be good enough for them to remember it. Like, you want to, no matter what you're talking about, there's certain parts of whatever you're speaking about, whether it's a speech or a dissertation, there's certain things that you want your audience to take away from it. And you have to put those certain things out there in a way that makes them stand out versus the rest of the things that you've said the entire time. But anyway, I'll get into that in a little bit more detail later, but I want to get through this video.
The coronavirus is encased in what is basically a layer of fat. Soap breaks that fat apart and leaves it unable to infect you. It also makes your hands slippery, and with the mechanical motions of washing, viruses are ripped away.
And he also even involved the process of washing your hands and how effective it is. I love that. This is so detailed, but it's clear and concise at the same point. I don't feel like he's rambling. I don't feel like he's just giving us information that we don't necessarily need. I feel like even the processes and the things that he's going through in detail are still extremely helpful. They help and relate to the topic. And it's clear and concise. I don't feel like it's wasting my time, if that makes sense.
To do it properly, wash your hands as if you've just cut up some jalapenos and want to put in your contacts next. The next thing is social distancing, which is not a nice experience, but a nice thing to do. This means no hugging, no handshakes. If you can stay at home to
No kissing!
protect those who need to be out for society to function, from doctors to cashiers or police officers. You depend on all of them. They all depend on you to not get sick. On a larger level, there are quarantines, which can mean different things, from travel restrictions or actual orders to stay at home. Quarantines are not great to experience and certainly not popular, but they buy us, and especially the researchers working on medication and vaccination, crucial time. So if you are put under quarantine, you should understand why and respect it. None of this is fun. But looking at the big picture, it is a really small price to pay. The question of how pandemics end depends on how they start. If they start fast with a steep slope, they end badly. If they start slow with a not so steep slope, they end okayish. And in this day and age,
Okay-ish.
it really is in all of our hands. Literally and figuratively.
Figuratively.
A huge thanks to the experts who helped us on...
All right, then. That was the video. That was very, very helpful. I believe that that was a very interesting video. I would say, excuse me, guys. My voice, it's not how it used to be. I wouldn't say it's not how it used to be. Right now, I just have a little bit of a cough. I don't have the coronavirus, but I do have allergies, and so I try to not talk as much as possible. I try to drink a lot of teas to try to preserve my voice as best as possible. But it's in a little bit of a straining phase right now, so it's a little bit raspy. But that's okay. It happens. It happens to everyone. It'll be fine. But that was a really great video. If you guys enjoyed that video, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Also like, comment any other videos you would like for me to react to, and most importantly, subscribe. Just a disclaimer, I'm a communication specialist and a public speaker, but I'm not here to try to change the way that anyone talks. I'm just here to give my opinion. I'm the founder of Char Speaks, which is a brand that helps people become better communicators in their own way. So I never want to change how a person communicates. We just want to identify how they communicate and then develop and elevate off of that. But thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Take care.